coming back to us here on TEFL Live. We're going to go ahead and jump into our second game of the week, which is going on at 12:30. That is the Raiders versus the Duville Tigers. Again, that game is going on at 12:30. Let's talk about the Raiders a little bit before we get into your team. I know that either you or Greg or Bo have scouted the Raiders. What do you see out of the Raiders?
Oh, my fault. I got a little Marcel moment there. The Raiders, man, I think obviously they're a first-year team. They're going through the first-year struggles, trying to get enough guys to get out there. Mm-hmm. Guys playing out of position that maybe they play a different position if they have more bodies. The quarterback plays is either that one real athletic kid that really goes back there and runs, or Tyrese. So it's kind of it's almost like the Bucks in the old days. You couldn't really scout against the Bucks in the old days because they were just going to do whatever. They were going to throw the ball over the place. They didn't really have a whole lot of basketball sets, structured plays. So I don't know if there's a lot that we can do. I don't know if there's a lot that we normally do as Tigers other than do what we do.
Right.
That's what we focus on. So one thing is we can't take them lightly because that's the first way to get your butt kicked,
Yes, it is.
and find yourself in a dogfight and giving these guys confidence. You kind of got to get on them early and kind of try to cruise from there, kind of put your foot on their throat after that. But this is football. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So me, my guys are gonna work hard. We're gonna not take anything for granted. We have a big week 2 matchup.
Yes, you do.
That should have been week 1.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie to think that we're not thinking about that or we're not missing that we missed that game. But we have to take care of business first, and that's what we have to do. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Okay. All right. Now, he talked about the Raiders. I want to talk to you about the Tigers, Sheridan. You got our power rankings here, which we'll go over here in just a bit. But the Tigers, what do you see the Tigers can improve on? They're a 2-time champ, defending champ. What is it that they can improve on after losing some key components on their offense?
Well, it's pretty obviously once they lost the Kelly kid, that's going to put them. He was he made the offense tick. I played with the Tigers in 2010, and we had a pretty good team. The one thing we were missing back then was the quarterback. That's what not made that 2010 Tigers team click. Mm-hmm. And right now they're looking to where they could be back in that spot where they're going to play good defense, great athletes all over the field. Will they be able to score the way they need to score to win games? That's what they're looking at right now. We know Greg's been there, great mind, quarterback skills up and down, and the other kid, number 6, quick, moved around, has a good arm. I saw him throw some tight spirals.
Is that Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 6 wasn't really on target all the time, but he connected with number 21 a few times on some comeback routes. So if they can work those routes, they'll be all right. But right now, I see the biggest hole. The biggest hole is going to be quarterback. They have decent running backs. They block well, and they got receivers. I give a shout out to my boy Mike Huerta and the Huerta family.
Already on Twitter. I see him on Twitter too, so shout out to him.
Yeah, so they have a good team. Defensively, I'll give a shout out to all my ex-Rhinos that are on that defense. I got my boy Adam, Robert Bailey, Aaron Matthews, and Richard. I played with them a year, and we go back years. Stout defense, man. Dog. Vince. That's the defense. That's a defense to be reckoned with, man. Yeah. That's a tough defense. I really think that the adding the 2 players for the Tigers it's short. It makes the field smaller. Mm-hmm. When you're already fast, when they were fast with 6 guys on the field, now with 8 guys, now the field's smaller for the offense. They're going to be all over the place. It's going to be hard to find space against those guys.
Yeah, that is true. The Raiders, we know their offense is kind of anemic right now. A lot of it due to blocking. Mark, what do you see the Raiders having to do? As it's going to be kind of hot and humid this weekend, and we know that they had trouble with the conditioning portion of their game, last game.
Definitely. When you only have 16, 17 guys max, and I'm giving them a few probably.
Adding on for it.
Right. When you're playing in that weather, it's gonna wear on you. Maybe the first, second quarter they might be all right. Their adrenaline's going. But once that third or fourth quarter comes and that hot Texas sun, it beats on you. One of the weaknesses, this is purely from an analyst, not, disrespecting, and it's something hard to do as a coach. I don't want to give you full fuel, but they lack the offensive defensive line, and mainly the offensive line. When scouting them and watching film on them, their offensive line, I don't know if they have a scheme, but they got some big guys, they got size, but it's whether that's not just going to get it done in the league. So if this is basic one-on-one. You can have as many athletes as you want. But if you don't have an offensive line, you don't have a defensive line, especially now because we're more geared. This, like I said, like Sheridan said, this ain't 6-man.
Right.
This is pretty close to 11-man football. So we got some trenches. Yeah, we got some trenches, and you got to block and you got to protect for the quarterback. Tyrese is running around, for his life back there.
He is all the time.
You haven't been able to see what Tyrese is actually capable of as a quarterback because he's not getting that time in the pocket. He's having to roll out, throw the ball away, just throw it to save himself from getting a sack. So their offensive, and I'm not really so focused on their defensive line. Their offensive line is where I think we can attack them.
Yeah, because me personally, I think their defense is okay. It's not as bad as what everybody is making it out to be, but at the same time, go ahead.
I was at the last game when I watched the Horns team that couldn't move the ball against the Avengers run up and down the field.
That's true.
Boys.
That's true.
Up and down the field. They
You
opened
play
up.
for the Horns, right?
I do.
He plays for the Horns. Raiders, I'm sorry, but he's going to say the defense isn't that bad. They gave us the most points the last time y'all played out. They gave us more points than the Scorpions did, and the Scorpions were horrible.
Yeah.
They opened up holes wide, threw the ball down the field. The Horns pretty much did what they wanted to do after not being able to score and fumbling touchdowns against the Avengers.
Yeah, but that, again, we're an experienced team. We're, I would like to think a championship caliber team. And so, if they go against some of the, I don't want to say lesser teams, but against some of these newer teams like the Avengers, maybe.
That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I forgot we dropped the other two teams, but I think they got a shot to win at least one game this year.
Well, you could hold down the score with the Titans, easy, man. They show up.
Wow.
Again, that game is going on at 12:30. We're gonna go ahead and give our predictions a little bit later after this next game, but we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break right now, and then we'll come back and talk about the last game of the day, the Titans and the Horns. We'll be right back.